are all weirdos.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Flashpoint Beyond, number 2, written by Jeff Johns, Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams, with art by Zermanico, Mikel Janine, Romeo Fajardo Jr., Jordi Belair, and Rob Lee. And we go back to Hyper Time, to the Flashpoint universe, where Thomas Wayne is still trying to get to the bottom of why the Flashpoint timeline is back and how it's connected to the Clockwork Killer, who's going around and killing anybody who in our normal Batman's timeline is connected to time travel in some way.
Yeah, and with that, he even says there's not really much of a chance of anybody from the future coming back to help. They would have already.
Not in this timeline.
I'm on my own deal. Now, in this, he does mention, he starts to stress the idea that he has to stop this timeline because he does believe that this is changing the regular timeline, though we think that that's not the case. He's not aware that in the regular timeline, Batman kind of is doing his own thing and doing other things and hasn't erased
He thinks this is written over our timeline once again.
And that's why you really have that idea that he's upset and really needs to change this because he thinks that it has overwritten it again. And he needs to get back to that.
For what we know of, Flashpoint Batman, Thomas Wayne, for the time that he actually spent on Earth Zero, whether it's, doing Infinite Frontier stuff or just freaking Bane stuff during Tom King's run of Batman, he certainly does know a lot about the history of the DC universe, way more than I ever think he should. Talks about the Legionnaires, the robotic Hour Man from DC 1 Million, or Booster Gold. I'm like, you know a fucking lot, bro.
With all of this, though, it's pretty cool. The idea that you do even tie in Dark Crisis into this, you start getting more and more things that are tying into, Doomsday Clock stuff and all this stuff, even getting a little mentions of what that snow globe might be. And, it's still mystical.
Which is still very weird to me, the idea of how this hyper time, I'm just going to go with the idea, this is hyper time that's fucking going on at this point in time. So at the one point, we have the idea that Roger Hayden, the Psycho Pirate, had escaped Earth Zero because of the Great Darkness coming with the Dark Crisis and escaped into hyper time, where he ended up in the Flashpoint timeline, which is not a world, it's a timeline, so that's where it would exist. But it's just such a weird idea. It's like, here it is, its own little thing. I just want to know how Dark Side's Omega Effect beams went and hit Thomas Wayne in the multiverse, putting him in hyper time here that recreated a world. And it's just such a weird concept. And not only that, but how the hell in the actual Earth Zero, where Batman is there with a Watchmen snow globe and Jenny Slater's watch and stuff like that, how the Watchmen universe outside of Dr. Manhattan powers, how that has anything to do with hyper time or time travel in general. And I'm just like, I'm trying to find the connectivity.
I'm trying to figure. I just get the idea of this hyper time, Doomsday Clock, the Dark Crisis, all these things going on, and even tying in some of these things that we think are going on in Dark Crisis with these dream worlds, pocket universes, and things like that. I thought at the very beginning what they were playing with was that this was Thomas Wayne being sent to what they thought would be his dream world, but it's kind of a nightmare here, but almost to a world where he feels like, oh my God, everything's done. I might as well give up. I'm going to get violent again. I'm going to end up, everything will explode within me and implode or whatnot.
I just don't know how you send him to one of these things when it wasn't Pariah's powers that did that, but Darkseid. Before Darkseid was taken over by the Great Darkness.
We have to see how all these things even worked out. We may see something bigger is happening, not just Pariah, of how, maybe we have to wait till the first time we get one of those, super world without Superman in his own world. Maybe we'll find out that there's even something bigger involved that even got involved here before, like you said, even before Darkseid did, where we said, even when we were talking about Dark Crisis, when everybody gets zonked away, it might have been right before they died, and that might have been I don't know. But he's here. He thinks that this timeline, oh my God, it's screwed again. He ends up trying to get Barry. Oh, Barry's dead. And then he goes to Aquaman. Oh my God, all these things going on. So as he's going here, the big play for him is just nothing matters here. I'm just going to go through this. I have to get shit done. I got to get this all out. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to destroy everything. With that, he is getting, and I thought it was intriguing, where you do see that Justice League Incarnate bit might have gotten him a little softer side of Thomas Wayne. And he actually learned, wanted to be a little better. And now he's like, I'm back here. I'm starting to get violent again.
I have to learn to be me again.
And I like that. I thought that was intriguing.
This world is hard and tainted, and that's what I have to be to live in it.
And when people said from the first issue, or even that Zero issue, because I keep forgetting that was a Zero issue, but even then, when people were saying, And we talked about, when we talked about Dark Crisis, we kind of ended up enjoying it and trying to beg people to. I think that if you didn't read this Flashpoint Beyond because, I don't want to go back to the Flashpoint deal. It's just doing that again. It's different. There's an intriguing mystery going on. Hopefully it plays out because there's a lot going on, a lot of mysteries, but even the little bits and pieces of it going through here, I do enjoy. I do like Oswald and Thomas there with Dexter, where Thomas is just, he's so bad.
Yo, boss, it's about the kid. I think there's something wrong with them. He heard about the casino, and now he wants to know all about the explosives. And Thomas Wayne just keeps on walking. So teach him.
Yeah, teach him about the explosives. Just do it.
Stop questioning me, Mr. Oswald. It's Oswald. Just freaking teach the kid about explosives. That's what he wants to know. So Dexter, I'm telling you, he is becoming this weird, almost he is a ward of Thomas Wayne right now, and he is just learning all the worst things. And it's so funny to me because of the Flashpoint universe where you have things that are flipped on their head, like out of nowhere, like Bruce Wayne is killed, so Thomas Wayne becomes the Batman, and Martha Wayne becomes the Joker. In this issue, you see freaking Gilda Dent become this world, this timeline's Two-Face. So what is this Dexter Dent do? Is he becoming this weird, fucked up Flashpoint Robin with the things that he's being taught by this Flashpoint Penguin and Batman?
And again, I'm telling you, Flashpoint Penguin, he's Alfred. And it makes me laugh because Alfred is usually the guy in the regular timeline, the regular deal of like, oh, no, Master Bruce, we can't do that. Like, he actually becomes, but Oswald, all right, he's just going. And it makes me laugh so much where I think the problem is that I don't think Thomas is trying to make anything of Dexter. I just think that he thinks, just show him then. We're not going to be doing this much. None of this matters.
Nothing matters. It's his mantra.
So he's just going to do that. And I'm really afraid that I think that Dexter will become something like a Rob, but it's not going to be right. He's not going to be right with it, or he may actually
be a Flashpoint version.
He may end up becoming full out just villain with the shit that he's learning. But like a little Damien. But yeah, he ends up, just teach him. What the hell do I
Last issue, I think it was, where he's freaking learning to fire guns. Now he's going to learn about explosives. This is like day 2 of being in the Wayne Manor, and he's fucking already a killing machine. He is going to grow up in this Flashpoint timeline, become the Grim Knight.
Yeah, it is. I was just going to say, the Grim Knight is what he seems to be becoming, and it's all because Thomas Wayne doesn't think that everything will last. So he just, in my mind, just keep him busy. Just get out of my face. Just teach him, whatever.
I got Batman things to do.
Hey, he wants to see the porno and drink the booze.
Because right now, outside of being upset that this world is back and nothing matters, because all we have to do is make sure that this timeline doesn't exist, so my son's timeline does. He is also a little pissed off that he's being played like this because he knows that Bruce is a smarter Batman than he ever will be. So even the idea of going off and confronting Aquaman, it was all a play to get him out of town so they could burn down his casino. For them, then him to find out that Roger Hayden of Earth Zero is actually in Arkham Asylum in this Flashpoint world. So he needs to find out about this, only to find out that Roger Hayden, the psycho pirate, who he needs to get information from about why any of this is happening, because for some reason, Thomas Wayne knows everything there is to know about Psycho Pirate and what it means to be a Psycho Pirate, which is crazy. I'm telling you, he knows way too much in this, but Psycho Pirate is hung in his cell to make it look like suicide, even though he was murdered. So everything is just playing him. He's being played, and it's pissing him the fuck off.
Yeah, because he ends up finding out that Roger Hayden says that he came, and they say he came to Hypertime here. So there it is.
Hiding.
And says to take refuge from a quote-unquote dark crisis. He also told me that Bruce Wayne was supposed to be Batman. And then so he's speaking now. He's like, I gotta go see that Psycho Pirate.
Yeah, he's crazy. Shit, I gotta go talk to Roger Hayden.
And he goes and sees, and you end up where it looks like somebody's probably set up Roger and killed him to make it look like it was suicide. But he had been writing stuff on the wall. I like that. Yeah, Thomas Wayne looks up. Bruce is Batman. Yeah, I already know that. Let's see what the next thing is.
Well, that's the thing. Is when you look at what Roger Hayden had written on the wall before he was murdered here. Bruce is Batman. Infinite Crisis. Alan, West, Garrick, the names of the Flashes. And the thing that really caught my eye here was that he's saying that I don't remember Judy Garrick. And that was an important thing because this is a Jeff Johns joint, even though if Tim Sheridan and Jeremy Adams are doing most of the writing here after the issue number 0. But the idea of Judy Garrick, we haven't seen that name since Stargirl Spring Break Special back a year ago. In, I think it was May last year. That's where, Jeff Johns did the Stargirl Spring Break Special, where inside that we had the 7 Soldiers of Victory and this whole time travel thing with Per Degaton and Kronos. And this paradox that opened up a wormhole kind of thing that showed a lot of these old, golden age sidekicks and stuff like that. And even characters from Young Justice, because you had Wing, Dynamite, and the character Secret from Young Justice. But then you also had them running through the woods talking about, we can't leave Judy Garrick behind. And I thought about that when that came out, I'm like, who the
Who's
hell is
that?
Judy Garrick? Because we never saw her. Her name was mentioned. But now Psycho Pirate has her name written on the wall, and that had to do with something with time travel as well, and playing with time, and something about the idea of someone who's called the Childminder, which is brought up here as well. So, like, this idea that there is somebody out there who is minding the children of, like, you know, past DC heroes and stuff like that who have gone missing or, like, lost in time and different things like that.
But even that multiverse isn't dead. And then him saying, I don't think I'm the real Roger Hayden. It's kind of crazy, but that's the weird thing. If this was really, you know, the normal, you know, what we know of the Psycho Pirate, he would know that the multiverse isn't dead. He would know that this seems like it would be something from the past, from the Crisis on Infinite Earths, when they did end up getting rid of the multiverse, because it's odd that he would just say, you know, the multiverse isn't dead, and I don't think I'm the real Roger Hayden. So we'll have to see if this is something from out of time or whatnot, but he ends up looking like somebody killed him. And you end up, you know, having Batman go, Thomas Wayne goes next to Gilda Dent's there, and he says, you know, did you see anybody go in there? And she just won't answer. Hey, what's going on with my son? Do you have my son? And she knows
she recognizes right now. It's like, I can't believe my husband never saw it, but you are Thomas Wayne. You are the Batman. You have my son. You let all this shit go down with Martha Wayne. You're fucking become the Joker, killed my daughter and stuff like that. So, like, Gilda is out of her mind. And even the idea now that she wants to see the Wayne Casino coin that Batman picked up when he was at the, like, burnt out casino previously and hands it to her. Even the idea where she takes it, then you see the one side is all burnt up. So now you have the two, like the coin that's like the face on one side. She starts smacking her face against the freaking glass
just to make herself
window,
a Two-Face.
and then she's all a Two-Face with her coin. And I'm like, you just created the Flashpoint Two-Face with Gilda Dent here.
Yeah, and he ends up saying nothing matters here, and she starts
But it's
yelling,
so
it matters
weird because
to me.
even when she's talking about it, like, I don't know how it's playing out. If it's just like, you know, I don't think the art does it that well to convey what they're trying to do, because as he's talking to Gilda Dent here, like, we see that she changes to become Martha Wayne, and like talking about, like, you know, the idea of his son's death, and then turns back into Gilda. I'm like, is this just what Thomas is seeing here? Is it playing with his mind for, like, you know, dealing with what he actually put Martha through, and, like, you know, the idea that she was a victim before this because of the way he treated her and stuff. Like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me with this.
Yeah, if it's a weird Two-Face that way, like the way that, because she does seem like, you know, she knows a lot and she's acting like Martha, which is odd, but, you know, he just walks away then. He's like, I'm getting out of here, and goes through, and then he has to get out because everybody's like, you know, shoot this guy. He's not supposed to be here, and jumps out of there. But all of this going on, yeah, he says, I got to get violent again. I'm starting to relearn how much of a piece of crap I am. I'm pissed off. He just ended up hearing all of his failings being thrown at him about his wife and his son and all that. He seems very pissed off.
Now he has to beat the crap out of the rogues who never actually became the rogues in a dark alley. So you just have the top, the Rainbow Raider, Heatwave, and freaking Captain Boomerang just hassling some girl in an alley to the point where Batman comes down and just royally beats the ever-loving shit out of them.
Yeah, he's beating
like,
the crap
like,
out of him.
You just have these characters who, like, are just shells of what you expect them to be, with the most basic concept and let you know that they are who they are, but they have no power. They have nothing at all. They just have the crap beaten out of them by Batman, who's pissed off about the world that he lives in.
Yeah, and he just comes and starts beating the crap out of them, and then he stops.
Coming out of Digger's nose right there. I will.
Just like, you know, Captain Cold goes off to be a good guy, and the rest of them are just nonsense. But you end up where Batman then gets hit. He's about to shoot Digger, and he gets hit from behind and slammed across the alley, and it's Superman.
Subject One,
yeah,
Superman.
Subject One, and, you know, look at him, and they say, you know, hey, I heard what you said, because this is his mantra. Nothing matters.
Everything matters.
He says everything matters.
Wrong.
And the crazy thing here is, originally it was Barry Allen Flash that was able to try to convince him and get him inspired about this, and maybe Superman always being the light to a Batman might be able to inspire him to try to do something a little bit different than just beating the crap out of everybody and try to burn this whole place down.
I will tell you this, though, it's weird because once we started getting Thomas Wayne Batman and the Infinite Frontier, and then, like, you know, the Justice League Incarnate and stuff like that, I really started caring about the character more than I did previously, because I thought that Tom King ruined the character. I wanted to go and have his, you know, his action figure. Like, I have my Flashpoint Thomas Wayne Batman action figure standing right here. But I think to myself at the end of this whole thing, it's like, I don't think I'm going to want a Subject one action figure. Like, this Superman does not do it for me like the Flashpoint Batman
Well, at
does.
least he's not as scrawny as usual.
It's true.
But
It looks like he's getting a little bit bigger.
the way that they drew him, though, doesn't it look like he has like really bad buck teeth? But he doesn't. It's just like the angle. I'm like, look at this guy. Look at the beaver.
Well, that's the thing is, you're talking about buck teeth, you're seeing more of the lower. It looks like he has
That's
an
what I'm
underbite.
saying. It's just weird. But I'll tell you this. Me and you did not like the idea of Thomas Wayne coming back into the universe with Tom King. It didn't make sense.
No, didn't make any sense.
Never really made any sense of
Even
it,
with
even at the
Reverse
end.
Flash doing it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Reverse. That's what it ended up. If people don't remember, Reverse. Oh, I did it to screw with you, and runs away. No. That doesn't make sense.
Like, I don't know what's worse, Reverse Flash doing that or Tom King writing that Wally West ran so fast that he went inside of a computer and undeleted files to see other people had problems.
That might be worse.
Which one's worse?
Or just make Wally a killer. Maybe that's worse. But so we hated that. We did not like it. We thought it was ridiculous. Even the idea that Thomas Wayne would do anything to help his son comes back and Tom King tries to twist and turn it that he's evil because, as Tom King said on Twitter then, he's a psycho and always was and always will be. But no. He did everything for his son. So then we go to Justice League Incarnate. It's starting to, hey, we even
look,
said.
it's President Superman and Dr. Batman. How fun is this?
And here we go. Thomas Wayne, he's here. We don't like it, but hey, let's go. But suddenly in this, I'm like, I like this character. I'm like, I like Thomas Wayne.
Really
Now I'm
started
actually
working out in Joshua Williamson's Infinite Frontier and Justice League Incarnate because you started seeing, because you had to have other books to make up for what Tom King did in his own books to try to say, like, maybe I went about things the wrong way. I was a bad guy. I did bad things. I've ruined my son. I'm a piece of shit and I have to do better.
Yeah.
We had to spend pages and pages to show you that,
I know.
that what we wrote what Tom King wrote previously, that wasn't right. And now we have to redeem a character because of what he fucking did with no goddamn concept of it.
Because you're redeeming a character that ended up, had a redemption at the end. But wasn't wasn't a great guy and then redeemed himself. But in this, and this is why I said people should check it out. If you say, oh, I don't need that Flashpoint. Well, you know who else doesn't need it? Thomas Wayne. And that's what I think I get because he's with us all. He is trying to stop this.
He is the everyman here.
He is. He's everybody wanting this to end. This is not right. This sucks. There's no point in this where he says, all right, I'm back, baby. Hey, let's go. He ends up, the casino burns down. And even in there, it
doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
The question in that is to pose to him is, does somebody know that was affecting Batman because of the like your Thomas Wayne, whatever? Do they know this, whatever? And he ends up when he goes to, oh my God, people died. This, and he's like, it doesn't matter. I don't give one rat's ass of all this. Oh, you don't care about the people? Doesn't matter. And he is so wanting this to end and just go. But I mean, really simply, he could probably just, in a crazy bad way, he could just kill himself and say, screw all you. But he's fighting against it. And that's where I think that people should read this and enjoy it. And that's why I'm liking Thomas Wayne. He is now a guy who, on his own, desperately trying to end this stuff once again. And it almost is, like you said, where Tom King screws things up. This is going to allow him to get that other redemption of getting rid of it. And it seems big. And then at the end, where you end up tying things and mentioning Dark Crisis and Psycho Pirate and all that feels big and connected to everything. And you get, like you said, the Stargirl stuff, like all that. You would never have expected that to suddenly come up.
Well, it's such a weird idea, too, when you have this whole thing where you have Jenny Slater's watch that's wrapped around a snow globe that Batman took away from Rip Hunter and the Time Master's vault and stuff like that. And you have this concept about the idea of like what a snow globe is and like how bad it is for the snowman family inside and stuff like that. And it almost feels like the way the analogy is here, the idea that Batman knows that Thomas Wayne, his father, is back in the Flashpoint universe and the snow globe represents that, because even the idea like you shake it up, the storm's getting worse, we're always looking out, like why would you want to keep it in there? And then Batman says like, to keep them safe because they're inside the snow globe, they'll never melt. And the idea that they're safe inside.
That's a really good line.
Does Batman know that his father is back in his own world, but he's okay with it because there he's at least safe away from whatever's going on in the world of Batman and Earth Zero? Because even at this point, it's like, you stole that snow globe from Dr. Hunter, but us Time Masters took it from someone else. First, to protect the divine continuum from that blue-faced prodigy, talking about the little, the boy Clark who has the rest of Dr. Manhattan's powers in the Watchmen universe. So it's like the idea of like, what does this mean? Why are we taking things from the blue-faced prodigy? I'm like, is he a problem in the Watchmen universe? How does it affect the Time Masters? What the hell is going on? Because right now, I know we're only at issue 2 of a 6-issue mini, but I need to know how there's a connection here and why it's so important, especially to a freaking hyper time Flashpoint world.
Yeah, and the way that this is explained is pretty, I don't know, clever, but it's pretty cool. Where he says, "Yeah, hey, the Snow Globe family, the Snowman family, has it as hard as we do. Their entire world gets shaken up and turned upside down all the time, but in the end, it always turns back into the same place it was." And that's really what everybody's upset about in the whole multiverse at this point, is because these heroes end up mucking things up. Everything gets shaken up, everything, and then it resets and it's back to normal. And then tying it in with your dad's kind of like that snowman in there. He ends up knowing that shit is going on and not going. And so he can see it must really suck. And then, like Batman said, well, he's safe.
Well, even when you have the idea of the snow globe, though, because but now that you took this snow globe out of our time vault, you might as well have written your own obituary, because if Dr. Hunter and the others don't get here to back me up soon, the owner of that snow globe is going to be drawn to it. And if he shows up, boy, are you going to be sorry about this whole darn thing. And I'm like, is it more than just Clark, more than just a Dr. Manhattan boy child? Like, what is happening? Who is the owner of that snow globe, and what does it have to do with a Clockwork Killer in a hyper time Flashpoint universe to the death of Roger Hayden, who might not even be the real Roger Hayden? I'm like, you are piling a lot of interesting things, and you better be able to pay this off, because boy, do I want to know how it even ties in to the freaking Childminder stuff with Judy Garrick in a Supergirl, in a Stargirl Spring Break special from a year ago with time paradoxes.
When you end up having that, it does also then make me think of St. Elsewhere with that snow globe and them saying, like, it's just like that. But yeah,
it's not just like that. Howie Mandel's not doing that.
And stuff like that. No, and it was like an autistic kid looking in. I'm telling you,
it's just going to be that Clark shaking that thing.
Look at him. He looks kind of like the kid. But yeah, with all of that, all of a sudden now Thomas Wayne gets out of the shower. We have all of the tropes going on and all of the endings. But yeah, it has me intrigued. I liked it. I thought that there's a lot going on, and I could just go with, hey, watching Thomas Wayne just trying to burn everything down because he does not want that Flashpoint deal to continue. And it seemed like at a point where you're like, well, I guess he's done. Like, what can he do? And I think a lot of people were even complaining because they thought that the only hope for Thomas Wayne would be Bruce to save him. And a lot of, why would he do that? Why would he? But when Superman shows up, you're like, all right, like, we might have something going on here. We got to figure out what's going on. And Roger Hayden knowing and saying he might not be the real one. Like, there's a lot of intriguing things to go forward with that. So I'm enjoying it. I think the art's really good, except for almost buck teeth Superman.
That's fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just looking at him. He looks ridiculous. But what would you give it?
I like the art in this a lot. I like all the stuff that we're playing with here because I find it very intriguing, and tying back to what Jeff Johns was doing a year ago in a freaking one-off special is very intriguing to me, especially with a character that I don't know anything about, but also tying it into Golden Age sidekick characters and the Seven Soldiers of Victory and stuff like that. All of this is just, like I said before, it's stacking interesting thing on top of interesting thing. I need to make sure that there is a payoff, and it's just not a spectacle of stacking because I need more than that. But from what I got right now with issue number 2, 3 issues overall, I'm giving this an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm giving it an 8.5 as well.